Welcome, those that are here in person, those that are watching online, Facebook, YouTube. Make sure to share, subscribe, and like. If you have any questions, you can put it in. We'll try to address it. If I don't know the answer, I'll get back to you. Today's class is dedicated to the memory of Pinchas ben Zisya Halevi, who just concluded, unfortunately, the Shiva, and the learning should be Le'ilu Nishmasai. We're learning today about the fast of Asara Bteves, the 10th of Bteves, which begins tomorrow. And just a brief history, and I hope tomorrow, Met Hashem, to talk more about the background of this day, why it's a fast day, and the things that happened on Asara Bteves tomorrow morning. But just briefly, it's on this day that the king of Bavel, Nebuchadnezzar HaRasha, he started the siege over Yerushalayim. And as a result of that, after many months, at Shiva Asar B'Tammuz, he managed to break through that wall, and that really is when the Churban, the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash, began. And then it ultimately led to on Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av, the burning of the Beis HaMikdash. So in a sense, this fast day is the most extreme and the most difficult, if you will, from all the other fast days, because this is the beginning of the destruction. We're still in Golus, unfortunately. Hopefully by tomorrow morning we'll be out. But we're still in Golus, and it's a result of everything that began on Asara B'Teves. And this is one of the reasons why, as the Shulchan Aruch brings, we don't fast obviously on Shabbos, besides Yom Kippur. Like if the 9th of Av comes out to be on Shabbos, you push it off to Sunday, because we can't fast on Shabbos. The exception is Yom Kippur. However, when it comes to, in addition to not fasting on Shabbos, on Fridays also we don't fast. And the way the calendar is set up, it's done in a way that a fast day cannot fall on Friday, because then you would have to fast on Friday. And if you fast on Friday, you end up coming into Shabbos in some type of pain or discomfort from fasting all day, and that's not a positive thing. It's interesting. We're learning Hilchos Shabbos as well, and usually between Mincha and Ma'ariv, and generally we say that before Shabbos you should be hungry, so you should come to Shabbos with an appetite for the Suda Shabbos, but not fasting fully. You should eat something. And that's why we don't fast on Fridays, even if it's one of the tiniest tzibur, one of the public fast days. On Friday, you don't fast. Now, an example of that would be Purim. Right? If Purim is on a Sunday, then the fast day is the day before. It should be Shabbos. Shabbos you can't fast, so it would be Friday. We don't fast on a Friday, you move it to Thursday, because Friday we avoid fasting. The exception to that rule is Asara B'Teves. Because of the extremity of this day and what it represents at the beginning of Golus as a whole, Chazal say that even if it's a Friday, and this does happen, you should fast. And yes, you come to Shabbos with a discomfort, but the fast day is important, and therefore fast on Friday as well. This fast day begins in the morning from tomorrow morning, and in Aleis HaShachar in Chicago is 5:44. Okay, so technically speaking, a person could eat before 5:44. The reason why I say technically is because halacha brings that you have to make a t'nai, you have to make a condition before you go to sleep that I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning and I want to eat before the fast starts. If a person goes to sleep and does not make this condition, it's problematic for him just to eat in the morning, because the fast starts when you wake up. Now, the exception is if a person is used to always having water when he wakes up in the morning, so there's opinions that say that you don't have to make the condition. Even if you didn't, you're fine. Any drink. But normally it's best to make just to verbalize before you go to sleep that I'm going to wake up in the morning and eat. And this is a fast day which relatively late, 5:44. Some people around there get up even before then. But that you could eat before that starts. It ends wrote down what it ends here. It ends 5:07. So it's not even 12 hours of a fast day, but nonetheless, during the day is a fast day. Now, in davening, we have certain things that we add. First of all, the Chazan will add the tefillah of Aneinu. It's a special tefillah that we say, a special prayer that we add for fasting. The Yachid, the individual that's davening, only says it by Mincha. The Chazan says it. Hashivenu, he says by the he says the pasuk of the tefillah of Anenu. Now, really, in the shul, if nobody's fasting, it's a problem to say Anenu. You have to have at least 3 people that are fasting. 3 people fasting, even if it's not the whole minyan, for whatever reason, in certain situations where there's an exception of fasting, you have to have at least 3 that are fasting in order to say this Anenu, because it's a tzibur, it's a community is saying Anenu, and as a community, there should be that fasting going on. When it comes to getting the aliyah, even though tomorrow is Tuesday, we still have Kriyas HaTorah on a fast day, both in Shachris and Mincha. If somebody is not fasting, they shouldn't get an aliyah. However, if they have an exception from a Rav to break their fast, let's say they're ill or something like that, and they were called for the aliyah, because the Gabbai didn't know, and he called them up for the aliyah, it says that if a person feels uncomfortable, in pain for saying, oh, I didn't fast publicly, and it's Chil Hashem, or the fast day, oh, people don't really fast, this comes across as something that's lenient, and people are not really doing it, he's allowed to keep quiet. It doesn't have to say, hey, I can't get an aliyah. But if it's in advance, someone asks you in a quiet way, if you want an aliyah, if you're not fasting, you should make it known, so you shouldn't, someone that's fasting should get that aliyah. But before Kriyas HaTorah, we have tomorrow Slichas. Slichas is supplications that are said in davening. Our minig is we say it after Tachnun. There are communities that say it before Shachris. We say it after Tachnun. And because we say Tachnun, we don't include certain parts in the Slichas. We omit them, which follow along in the Siddur, of what to say, what not to say. But it takes, davening takes a little bit longer, and these tefillas are said, it's best to say the whole thing standing, but if you can't, then at least which part should be said standing, but obviously Vina Malkenu, and especially Ashamnu, which we say before. Every time we say Hashem, Hashem, it should be standing. Shema Kilenu is when the Aron Kodesh is open, and in general, it's a good time to mention that whenever the Aron Kodesh is open, you should stand out of respect, and Vina Malkenu, you stand. But it's best, and the minig is to stand during the entire slichas. Yeah, Hashem Hashem. The 13 shlishas nemidas. There are certain parts in Kriyas HaTorah that we read, we say in unison, that the Balkair is reading it, but everyone that's there, the kahal, the congregation, also calls it out loud. When the Rebbe would get an aliyah on a fast day, he would start with the tzibur. So what happens is certain psukim, the tzibur, the congregation, says it out loud, and then the Balkair continues, he repeats it. So the person getting into the aliyah, when should he say it? So the Rebbe starts with the tzibur, and he does it slowly, so he finishes with the chaz, with the Balkair, because he's the one getting the aliyah as well. We say on Tisha B'Av that a person doesn't learn Torah, because Torah is misamche leiv, Torah brings joy to a person, but there's a mitzvah to learn every single day. And you can't constantly have a mitzvah to learn Torah. So at least on Tisha B'Av, you should learn the laws, the sections of Torah which are about Tisha B'Av, the sad parts, if you will, from Yirmiyahu and so on. So there's a room, says the Rebbe, that on Asara Bteves, you should learn some of those sections as well. Now, we don't have the prohibition of learning Torah tomorrow. It's not that type of fast day. We have to learn. But we should learn those things of Yana Diyama of Tanakh, which is in Melachim, in Yirmiyah, and in Yechezkel. On a fast day, there's a minute to give extra tzedakah, extra charity because it's a fast day. Something extra. Now, there are those that have a custom to give the equivalent of the value of how much they would eat. So if your meal costs you, whatever it costs you, how much you eat, and you're not eating, take that value and give it to tzedakah. So you are redeeming, so to speak, your meal. It's not just you're not fasting, you are giving tzedakah of that amount. Now I want to turn to the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, which is what we're using for today's halachas, and it's Siman Kuf Chaf Aleph. There are 11 seif and 11 paragraphs here. I'm going to do the Hebrew inside, and then we'll translate. It's a positive commandment. It's a mitzvah from the Nevi'im that a person should fast on days that negative things happen to our ancestors. What's the purpose of fasting? So to have pain, what's the point of it? It's to awaken the hearts, to inspect how we're doing in our ways of tshuva. It should be a remembrance for the negative things that we may have done. And the deeds of our ancestors, which were the way we're behaving now, to the extent that the actions of the Yidden have caused so brought about the problems to them and to us that we're experiencing in Golus. If we remember the past, we will return to Hashem and do tshuva. As the pasuk says, as the Rambam brings it, that it says regarding korbanos, that they'll do vidoy, they'll confess their averes and the averes of their ancestors. A person needs to take the time on a fast day and inspect how are my deeds, how is my service of Hashem going, what areas need to be corrected, and to do tshuva for them. This is a very common, very misunderstood concept. The main part of a fast day is not the fasting. The halacha, you have to fast, but it's not the main part. As it says regarding Nineveh, we read this on Yom Kippur, by Mincha, we read them after Yena. And it says over there that Hashem listened to them after they fasted. Hashem saw their actions, their deeds of the people of Nineveh. They were they were a sinning nation. And after Yeno came there and he got them to fast and he got them to do tshuva and so on, they fasted. Hashem saw their deeds. And Chazal tell us in Gemara and Tainis that Hashem saw their sackcloth and their fasting. Sorry, it doesn't say Hashem saw their sackcloth and their fasting. Rather, it says Hashem saw what caused Hashem to change his mind? Not because, you fasted, so I'm going to change my mind. I'm not going to bring anything negative on you. He saw that their tshuva that they did, their actions. Fasting is only a preparation. It creates a mindset. It awakens the heart. But the idea here is not fasting. The idea is what comes as a result of the fasting. Says the Shulchan Aruch, those people that they fast, but holchim betil, they go on different trips. It's a fast day, so it's not a regular day. They can't focus. They go on trips. They waste the time with nonsense. They grabbed onto the secondary component of the fast day that technically you don't eat, but they left over the main part, which is to do tshuva. And if you're going on trips or whatever, because you have time, you're missing the point. Now, it doesn't mean you're not allowed to travel, but it means don't forget that the purpose here is that a person should think about their service of Hashem and they should improve, and that's the main part, not the fasting. Now, Siv Beis, he says, one of the fast days that we have, so there's the third day of Tishrei, so that's when we commemorate the Gedalia ben Achikam. After the Churban Beis Hamikdash, and Nebuchadnezzar left. What happened was after the Churban, the leader of the Yidden at that time was Gedalia ben Achikam, and when he was killed, it was a statement. They got the last leader, if you will, of that era was killed. Actually, it was killed on Rosh Hashanah, but you can't fast on Rosh Hashanah, so it's pushed off to Gimel Tishrei, which is Tzem Gedalia. Nebuchadnezzar made him in charge of the Yidden. After he was killed, thousands of Yidden, the Yidden were exiled and thousands were killed, and the coal, the leftover coal, so to speak, the flame that was still burning of that generation of the leadership was killed as well, and therefore the killing of Gedalia ben Achikam is a monumental, in a negative way, event. The second fast is what we have, Asara Bteves, which is tomorrow, where Melech Bavel, Nebuchadnezzar, Rasha, Yerushalayim, Aviyah, V'matzer, V'matzik. The king of Bavel, which is Nebuchadnezzar, the wicked one, he started the siege on Yerushalayim, and by stopping food from going in and stopping people from coming out, eventually he managed to break through. And from that began the whole chutnah. Now let's move to Sif Yud. Not only are you not allowed to eat or drink on a fast day, but every public fast day, one is not allowed to rinse their mouth. If a person has, pardon me, a lot of saliva, so if it's possible just to spit it out, that's better. But if not, you could swallow it, even on Yom Kippur. It's not considered to be eating. But rinsing your mouth, including brushing teeth and so on, is not done on a fast day. The reason why the saliva is okay, you're not having in mind to derive benefit from this, For the Yifleit Asr B'Tainis Sibur. Sorry, made a mistake here. The reason why the saliva is okay is because you're not having in mind for benefit. Now, next halacha. A person is cooking. They're fasting and they're cooking for the night when they break the fast, or for someone that's not fasting. So you're allowed to taste. You're not allowed to taste the food. Even if you say, I'm just going to taste to see if it needs more salt or something, then I'll spit it out, that is prohibited. I believe that Rabbanim are lenient regarding this concept, that you are allowed to taste if you're not eating. I think so. I'll double check. If it's a fast day that you're accepting upon yourself, meaning it's not one of the mandatory halachic fasts from a Nevi'im, from our prophets, when the person's decided he wants to fast. It's not something which we do today, but there is this concept in halacha of cholim, for example, or other reasons why a person may be fasting. In such a case, you are allowed to taste food and spit it out. You can't eat it, but if you want to taste it to see if it's ready or if it needs something else, you're allowed to. On a individual fast, it's not a tainis sibur. It's not as strict of a fast in general, and therefore you're allowed to wash your mouth if it's a tainis yachid. By the way, any questions or? Okay, let's do yeah. Mitzvah called Das Yisrael. It's a mitzvah on all the Yidden shall call tzara shleisavei, any hardship, any difficulty which should never happen. But if it does, Yis'anu, they should fast. V'yispalu al tzarosam, they should daven to Hashem for their pain. Hashem Yisbarach Shmei. Let's say it's a situation, unfortunately, as it happened in history, where it's not possible to fast. They're running away. They're fleeing from a situation. They can't stop and fast because we have a problem now. They're not allowed to fast. You don't want to break their strength. They should accept upon themselves they're going to fast a certain amount of fasts when they get saved. The concept here is that when a Yid has a problem, he davens. When there's a big tzara on the community, there's the concept of fasting. You find the Gemara regarding a drought, certain fasts, up to 13 fasts, even if there's no rain. If there's a real problem, Torah says that there's the idea of fasting, which again is tshuva. It's not about the not eating, but it's about what it brings to. If a person can't, because he's fleeing in this case, then they should accept upon themselves a certain amount of fasts when they get out of the problem. It'll be considered as if they fasted now. As we find by Daniel, the prophet, Pasuk says that Hashem told Daniel, don't worry, because from the moment you said, you accepted that you're going to understand and fast, which again will lead to proper tshuva, your words have been heard. Even by not fasting, but just accepting to fast, already brought that out. It's part of the nusach, the wording that we say in Anenu is Terem Yishmo Vani Ena Idhem Medaben Vani Eshmo. They didn't even finish. They didn't speak yet, and Hashem answered. They didn't finish the davening. He didn't even ask. Hashem answers. There's a concept that Hashem knows if you need something, even if you didn't actually fulfill it, but you accepted that you're going to do it. You didn't get a chance to it yet. It didn't happen yet. It's already considered as something. And the Minhagim he brings here regarding the times of Ma'ariv. It's a little bit earlier on a fast day than usual. It shouldn't go too early, but you don't. Some people have a minute to extend the time of Ma'ariv. Go a few minutes earlier so that by the time Shema comes, or at least at the end of the fast, you've done Ma'ariv by then, you can break your fast already and not keep people fasting for no reason. It's interesting that although they have to fast, they don't have to add extra to that fast. So breakfast 5:40, 5:40. Very important. Thank you. There's also a leniency in the three prior fast days. The first three, which is Gedaliah, Asara Bteves, and Tainis Esther. Tainis Esther. Those that are pregnant and nursing and they have pain, they're exempt from fasting. Same thing as an ill person, even though he has no sakana. There's two stages of someone that's ill in halacha. Someone that's not well is not well. But then there's a person he's in danger. They're hospitalized or other forms of measuring what's considered danger. Even if someone is not in danger, they're just not well. He should not fast. Now he says, even mukomokem, nonetheless, even someone that halacha permits because they're not well or she's nursing or pregnant, they're allowed to eat. Don't have pleasure with starting to have all these feasts and enjoyable foods and so on. Eat what you need for health. Even children. The children are not required to fast. At a certain age, you're not allowed to have them fast. If they have enough knowledge, they recognize that we are mourning over the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash, you should educate them. Only give them bread and water. In other words, you don't have to give them all this nash and candies and everything else. Give them the meal. They should have some level of connection with the community that is fasting. What we see from here, very important, is that those that are not well or not capable don't fast on these fast days. Start